Hi friends, good evening. How are you all? I hope you all are ready to learn the third lesson of your English textbook, which is called My Beginnings. I also hope you all have enjoyed the other two videos that I had sent across, the first two lessons. This lesson has been written by one of India's most famous cricketing personalities, Kapil Dev. I don't know how many of you all have heard about Kapil Dev. Kapil Dev was the captain of the Indian team and bought us India's first 60 over one day World Cup way back in 1983. This was much before the current crop of cricketers like MS Dhoni, Virat Kohli, and Sachin Tendulkar came on the scene. That day, India defeated West Indies in England and bought and won for us the World Cup for the first time in India's history. So, this lesson, My Beginnings, is a small extract from his autobiography, Straight from the Heart. Autobiography is a book written by famous personalities or people who want to talk about their lives and how they came into doing or being whatever they want they have become in their lives. It talks about their exploits, their childhood, their struggles in life, their successes in life. So that's an autobiography. So without taking much of your time, I will straight away now go to the lesson, right? So here we are. My Beginnings by Kapil Dev. That man is Kapil Dev here. This is Kapil Dev. And this is Kapil Dev lifting the World Cup in 1983. This gentleman here is Mohinder Amarnath, the man of the match in that match in the 1983 World Cup. So who is Kapil Dev? Really? So Kapil Dev, his full name is Kapil Dev Ramlal Nikhanj. He was born on the 6th of January 1959 in Chandigarh, which is Punjab and Haryana's capital. He was India's greatest all-rounder. As I said in his captaincy, Indian cricket team won the 1983 World Cup. His autobiography, Straight from the Heart, Kapil narrates his childhood experiences. So here in this chapter, he talks about his childhood and how it was, and from whatever I have seen, whatever I have read, his childhood was nothing different from yours or my childhood. Very fun-loving, very mischievous. So let's go into the chapter and read the chapter. So Kapil Dev says, looking back at my life, that is when he's writing, he says, looking back at my life, I've come to the conclusion that our beginnings never know our ends. What is the meaning of this? It means that when we are young, when we are small, and we live our lives, we do not know what will become of us when we grow up. We don't know where we will be when we grow up. We don't know which position we'll be and what we'll be doing when we grow up. So nobody knows our beginnings, how our beginnings will end. So for him, he says, for me, it's all started in Chandigarh, a small town, nestling in the foothills of the Himalayas. Nestling means it is there in the valleys of the hills. I was born on a cold winter morning. My mother, who is a simple woman, could not read the time, but she knew it was early morning. The day 6th January 1959 was thankfully recorded, Kapil Dev says, because a cousin of mine was born on the same day, around the same time, and with the same name. Can you ever imagine something like this to happen? Same day, same time, a cousin is born with the same name. So that is how Kapil Dev's mother recorded his time, which was morning, he says. I grew up among 6 other brothers and sisters, all older than me, except one sister who was a year younger. My mother always regales me with tales of my naughty behavior. So he says, my mother keeps telling me about how naughty I was when I was small. Regales means entertains us. She claims she never told me. But I do admit that right from the beginning, I found it hard to sit still. Kapil Dev says, I could not sit still. I had to do something. I had to either run or walk or do some mischief. I could not sit in one place. I was very curious, and it was my ambition to travel the world and drive a Mercedes Benz. So he says, even that time when I was growing up, I had a dream. Ambition is a dream. That I wanted to travel all over the world. That is, go to America, go to Brazil, go to Dubai, go to Singapore, go to Malaysia, and also drive a Mercedes Benz. Mercedes Benz is one of the top cars in the world. It's priced anywhere between 40 lakhs to 1 crore. So he wanted to buy that. He was curious and his ambition was that. So he says, God has been kind to me and both my wishes have been fulfilled. He says, my ambition to travel around the world and to drive a Mercedes Benz has been fulfilled because eventually I became very famous and I traveled the world over and bought many cars, not only Mercedes Benz. But at that time, Kapil Dev says, 25 years ago, these dreams seemed like castles in the air. I mean, it was like I was building some houses, some big, big homes, big bungalows in the air. I spent my childhood like all other children around me, trying to bunk school. Bunk means trying to say that you're going to school, but not going to school actually, and save up enough money to go to a new movie or have a plate of chicken chow mein with my friends. That was what he used to do, is to save money, go to a movie or eat chicken chow mein with his friends. If we were broke or bored, that means if we didn't have money or were very bored, we would amuse ourselves by breaking the fruit of our neighbor's tree. So the other pastime, amuse us, other pastime or other things that they like to do, he and his friends were by breaking the fruit of our neighbor's trees. I remembered one particular lady who lived down the road from us, who had a beautiful garden, which she took great pride in. So this lady who was a neighbor, had a beautiful garden and she was very proud of it. In that garden, in it, she had papaya and pomegranate trees. Among other trees, she had papaya and pomegranate trees. I now sympathize with her, but in those days, most of our time was spent planning how to get into her garden and pick the fruit of her trees. Kapil Dev says, I look back now and feel sorry for her that she had to contend with people like us, children like us, because in those days, most of our time was spent planning and trying to see how we could get into our garden and pick the fruit of the trees. In fact, one day we had climbed over the wall and were perched on the tree when the lady walked out with some guests. So one day he and his friend, they crossed the wall and they climbed on papaya tree and were wanting to take the papaya and go back when they realized that the lady was coming out of her house with some guests. So perched means sitting on the tree. She was entertaining them for tea right under the papaya tree. There were two of us on the tree and two others on the road on the other side of the wall. The two fortunate ones who had been outside ran away, but my friend and I had to sit still for nearly 2 hours till the party ended. That was the day I discovered the rash that papaya sap can cause. So since he had to stay on the tree for 2 hours, the papaya tree has a white secretion called a sap that can cause rashes all over the body. So when he went home, his mother saw the rashes and she asked, what happened? So he said something. He said, I fell down. I had a hard time. I broke my, I sort of slipped and fell. So he said, I had a hard time explaining to my mother what happened. But then he thought, I got even the next day when our neighbor went to Delhi for a couple of days. But he was thinking that this lady, because of this lady, I got these rashes on my body and I had a difficult time explaining to my mother. So I should certainly see that I rob my neighbor of the fruits that are there in our garden. So the neighbor went to Delhi for a couple of days. She had 92 pomegranates on her tree in her garden, on the tree in her garden. She counted them every day because she knew we were up to mischief. So she counted them every day because she knew that Kapil Dev and his friends would come to steal. So she wanted to know exactly how many pomegranates were there on her tree. As soon as her back was turned, we took down all 92, ate whatever we could and distributed the rest. So the moment she went to Delhi, we broke into her home, broke into the garden, removed the pomegranates, all 92, ate and threw the rest, threw the seeds in the garden and distributed the rest. I remember the walloping I got from my mother when she was told about it on the neighbor's return. That I remember the beating that I got from my mother when my neighbor came and told that it was your son who took my pomegranates. Now Kapil Dev says that very lady with great pride and affection tells anyone who cares to listen how I had taken 92 pomegranates from her garden and left the seeds behind. Because now that Kapil Dev has become famous, that lady takes great pride and affection in telling them, see, I know Kapil Dev. He was a small boy and he robbed my 92 pomegranates. The other really naughty thing that I remember doing is riding the police horses that were left in the huge open green areas to graze. So near his house, there were the police quarters and police offices, and there were huge open areas where they had the horses. So a few of my friends and I would go there regularly and try to ride them. They were huge police horses, not used to clumsy children scrambling. So they were big horses, and they were not used to small children coming and trying to get on them and trying to make mischief with them. But despite innumerable falls, innumerable means many times, despite falling many times, and many a fright, many times they got frightened because they would fall, break their hands and legs, or the horse would kick them. Kapil Dev says, I learned to ride and control a horse. In fact, even today, I'm quite comfortable on a horse without a saddle. A saddle is a leather seat. It is kept placed on a horse so that human beings can sit and ride them. Because Kapil Dev learned to ride the horse without the saddle, as that was the way I had taught myself to ride. Once we had learned to master the horse, there was one I particularly became attached to. He says, one horse I liked very much. We became more courageous and ventured out of the fenced area with the horses. So till now, we used to only go there and ride and come back. So now, once we learned to ride, we became courageous. We became very daring. And we said, okay, let us venture out. We said, let us step out of the fenced area with the horses. Nobody would have noticed, he says, when we took the horses, except for the fact that I bit off more than I could chew. That means I tried to do something extra, something over smart. What he did, I decided to take the horse home and house him in our back garden, which was about 700 square feet in size. So roughly about 10 feet by 70 feet was the size. And there was a back garden. But what happened there? The horse could probably have been tethered there. He says the horse could have been there, could have been kept there. But I hadn't anticipated the struggle I would have in getting the animal through the tiny 5.5 foot by 2 feet doorway. So he says that our garden had a small door, very small, 5.5 foot by 2 feet, that's all. And he said, I never expected that we would be struggling so much to get the horse into that small door. So we were caught within minutes of our arrival. The police realized that the horses had been taken by the children and they came and they caught them. The horse, of course, were duly returned, and the chiding I received from my father discouraged my venturing near the grazing fields again. So he says, I got so much scoldings from my father that we never went to the fields again. I was never studious. Studious means I was never, very interested in studies or very serious about studies, and always preferred to spend my time playing games and participating in athletics where I could use my energy. So he says, I was always interested in sports and running and jumping. And I used to spend all my energy there. I went to a small local school that had a few cricketing abilities. Just the school that I went to did not have any cricket facilities like nets and bats and pads and gloves and ball. The games they offered at the time were basketball, football, table tennis, and hockey, probably because all they required was a ball, a couple of sticks, and a net. So hockey, football, all these things just required a net and a ball, and maybe some sticks for hockey. So that was what we could play. He says, I was fairly good at all games, exceptionally good at athletics. That means he was very good at athletics, but dreamed of becoming a footballer. He says, my dream was to become a footballer. I worked hard at that game and was selected to play for my school. So I was very, very hardworking, and I was selected to play for my school for football. Fortunately, says Kapil Dev, all my friends were interested in and played cricket, and they convinced me to change my game. He says, but all my friends were more interested in cricket. And they said, Kapil Dev, you must change your game from football to cricket. So that was fortunate, because that is a decision I will always be grateful to them for as they unconsciously introduced me to the game for which I was made. He says they unconsciously, without knowing, they introduced me to a game for which I was probably made to play and excel and become big. Slowly, almost imperceptibly means unknowingly, bit by bit, I switched from one game to the other. That means from football to cricket, and began to spend a lot of my time on the cricket field. Naturally, I played in a number of inter-school tournaments and came to be noticed as a promising lad in the local press. So local press, local newspapers, they began to see his growth, they began to see his game, and they said, see, here is a promising lad. One day he may play for the country. But he says, it was all merely fun to start with. I just wanted to enjoy at that time. I could never have imagined where cricket would lead me, and I certainly had no plans then of becoming a professional at all. He says, I could never have imagined that cricket would lead me one day to being so big and so famous and to captain the country. And I certainly at that time did not think of becoming a professional. Professional means somebody who plays the game at the highest level and earns a lot of money. So that, friends, brings us to the end of the chapter. As usual, we'll go through some meanings. Nestle is to be surrounded by something, especially hills or countryside. Then, as I said, amuse is to make someone laugh. Ambition, strong desire. Walloping, to hit someone. Scrambling on to move somewhere in a hurried, awkward way. Either is to be so tired that someone no longer could deal with an upsetting situation. Anticipate, as I said, to expect something. Imperceptibly, as I said, almost impossible to see or notice. Studious, spending a lot of time studying and reading. Claim, to state that something is true. Offer, to say that you are willing to do something. About the author again. So friends, we come to the end of this chapter. In your textbooks, you will have a lot of assignments, and there is one assignment where they have shown a cricket field and they have given various positions that are usually placed, field placements in the cricket field, like you have slip cordon, you have extra cover, you have cover, you have mid on, mid off, long on, long off, you have deep square leg. So I want you to see how you can understand these field placements and mark them. And we shall certainly meet once you come up with your questions and are ready with learning more about this particular chapter. Thank you very much. Good night. Have fun. Bye.